Hey, it's Andre, and I've got to explain Space Jam: A New Legacy. Hold on to your butts. It's gonna be a doozy. Obviously, spoilers. I'm gonna go through a lot of stuff in this movie, so you've been warned. Spoilers. So the movie starts off with little LeBron going to play a basketball game. His mom's leaving him behind. He's all sad because his mom has to work, so she can't be there to watch him play the game. But luckily, he's got his friends there, and one of his friends gives him a Game Boy. He gives him the old school Game Boy because he just got the Game Boy Color. And this is where we get our first reference in Space Jam: A New Legacy. One that I not think we would ever get in any movie ever. Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle. He's playing Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle on the Game Boy. The moment I saw that, I was like, all right, I'm on for the ride. Like, I'm not even going to try to be all critical with this movie. When you start off the movie with Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle, the thing that cracked me up about that was I actually got that game on the Nintendo, on the NES, for Christmas. I got that and DuckTales one year for Christmas. So, LeBron, we got something in common. We both played Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle as a kid. But because LeBron wasn't paying attention to the game, when he finally got into the game, he did not do a good job. So his coach got on him saying that when you come to the court, you got to be focused before you even get in the game. You can't have these distractions showing off the Game Boy. And I'm like, wow, Nintendo, good job. You put yourself in a movie where people are saying you're a problem. So LeBron throws the Game Boy away. I was like, wait, hold on. My mom and dad would have smacked me on the back of my head if I would have done that. Like, boy, you better pick that Game Boy up out of the trash. Who you think you are? You know that thing costs money. I know your friend gave it to you, but that still costs money. You better get that Game Boy and dust it off and play it at night, play it after the game. Be throwing away Game Boys. So that mean coach making LeBron not play his video game, which allowed him to focus and become one of the greatest basketball players ever. I'm sorry, what's the lesson? We cut to present day where we see LeBron's huge house. I guess that's a big difference between Space Jam and Space Jam: A New Legacy. Space Jam tried to make us believe that Michael Jordan lived in a tiny house in the suburbs. LeBron's like, no, we ain't doing that. His older son is becoming like the next LeBron, loves to play basketball, but his younger son, Dom, is more interested in video games. He even made his own video game called Dom Ball. But of course, LeBron, thinking about his past when his coach yelled at him about playing Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle, was like, don't be talking about them video games. You need to put in that work. This one scene of him talking to his son, he's all like, you gotta put in that work. You gotta have those fundamentals. We gotta put in that work. Are you giving up? You can't win if you don't put in that work. We get it. It then cuts to Warner Brothers Studios where we get to meet our villain, Algorithm, as in algorithm, played by Don Cheadle. God dang it, Don Cheadle is the man. He is the VIP. He took what could have been a most stupid character and just made that thing gold from his performance. LeBron, get ready, baby. The whole movie, he's just so good. He changes the emotions, the stares he gives. He's just great. So the whole thing about Algorithm, which I think is kind of funny, he is inside Warner Brothers servers. They call it the Warner 3000 serververse. And his whole thing is that he's an algorithm so powerful that he's basically making decisions for Warner Brothers. Which, when you think about some of the decisions that Warner Brothers has made in the last few years, you're like, is this real? This might be true to life. Maybe this explains the whole Justice League fiasco. I can't wait for one day when someone at Warner Brothers is like, oh, it wasn't us, it was Algorithm. He made all this changes. He's like, I'm basically making all these ideas for Warner Brothers. I need some respect to my name. So if I can get someone like LeBron James on my side, his celebrity and my technology is going to make me the most respectful algorithm in the serververse and in the world. But I just love the idea that our villain is literally Warner Brothers. So he sets up a meeting for LeBron. LeBron and his son go to the Warner Brothers lot where they perfectly have posters for recent and upcoming movies. Like, literally, there's a poster for Scoob. There's a poster for the new Matrix. There's a poster for the Suicide Squad. Just want to let you know in Space Jam that there's R-rated Suicide Squad movies coming out. You gotta love the advertising, folks. This meeting is set up by Steven Yeun and Sarah Silverman. Is that a reference? Because if you remember, Sarah Silverman voiced Vanellope von Schweetz, who was in the Wreck-It Ralph movies, and the second movie, Ralph Breaks the Internet, had a scene where Vanellope went to the Oh My Disney website. So basically she was in the Disney serververse where all the Disney and Marvel and Star Wars and Muppets were all together and had that whole scene with the princesses. And that's basically what this movie is, but the Warner Brothers version. So did they deliberately put her in this movie to make that connection, or am I giving the movie way too much credit than it deserves? You be the judge. But I think we all know the answer. So Algorithm, animated, looking like a character from the Proud Family, shows off this presentation to be like, LeBron, you don't even have to be here. We can digitize you into any movie we want. We can have you fighting Batman. We can have you in Game of Thrones. We can have you in Harry Potter, which is kind of funny that they keep putting this black man into a lot of franchises that don't have a lot of black people in them, but they're like, we can do it all ourselves. And they showed all the movies that they have owned, including the original Space Jam. You saw they had a little cameo in there. I don't remember the exact thing that happens in this part of the movie because I was too busy looking at the statues in the back of Marvin the Martian and Dot from Animaniacs and Gizmo from Gremlins. I was like, oh, those are some cool statues. Can you buy those? Oh, by the way, a movie's happening. I'm sorry, I should be paying attention. But LeBron hates on his own movie. In the movie, he's like, this don't make no sense. You want an athlete to act? That never goes right. Also, sticking me in a bunch of random movies is the dumbest idea I ever heard. He says it in the movie. He literally says the plot of this movie is stupid in the movie. But then he crossed the line and says the algorithm is stupid. Algie took that personally. And he's like, I got you. So I'm going to bring you down to the serververse and steal your kid. And also at this time, LeBron and his son are arguing because Dom, he doesn't want to go to this basketball camp that's happening the next weekend. He actually wants to go to an E3 coders camp. And I'm like, what, E3 gets referenced in this thing? So they walk into the Warner 3000 serververse because plot. And then eventually Dom gets sucked in. So then LeBron gets sucked in as well. And they meet Algie Rhythm. He does this whole Wizard of Oz thing where it's just his head floating around. And then he shows his true self to be Don Cheadle. And my favorite part of this is that LeBron looks at Dom and it's just like, the computer's black. I was like, I can see that, Dad. Algie is basically the LeBron hater. Like, he is the characterization of a LeBron hater. I especially love when Dom was like, I can't believe my dad left me in the serververse. And Algie was like, well, are you surprised? He left Cleveland. He left Miami. He left Cleveland again. Look out, Lakers. I was like, dang. There's also another part where Dom is like, yeah, my father's one of the best basketball players of all time. And Algie was like, well, the jury's still out on that one. Don Cheadle is great in this. So Algie is talking to LeBron. Meanwhile, his son is like gone. And LeBron's like, what happened to my boy? And he's like, oh, well, you can get your son back, but you got to do something for me. Since you don't want to be in any of my movies, you want to play basketball, fine. We're going to have a basketball game to get your son back. Sure. And so he drops LeBron into the serververse, and we see LeBron flying through a bunch of different worlds, which are basically all Warner Brothers movies. So he flies through Game of Thrones, through Harry Potter, through Casablanca and the Maltese Falcon, the Jetsons, Matrix, Wizard of Oz. And you hear all these sound bites and stuff. I'm sure all the creators of these movies are so thankful that their movies are referenced in Space Jam: A New Legacy. I'm sure when the Wizard of Oz was made decades ago, they're like, I hope one day that my movie gets referenced in a movie where a basketball player and a cartoon rabbit are playing basketball. It's what Dorothy always wanted. She clicked her heels 3 times and asked specifically for this. It's in the book. Go read it. It's in the original book. So a cartoon LeBron lands in Looney Tunes world, complete with a Nike swoosh. Looney Tunes world looks completely deserted, but eventually he runs into Bugs Bunny. Yes, finally Bugs Bunny is in this damn movie. And Bugs Bunny is acting really weird. He's trying to start the whole rabbit season, duck season bit with LeBron. He's doing a bunch of Looney Tunes gags, painting the tunnel on a rock that LeBron runs into, driving a truck, trying to run over him. He pulls out TNT. He references the actual cable channel TNT, but it's actually TNT, like dynamite. Bugs takes him to a barbershop, which I guess is like a reference to the shop that LeBron has, where they have the conversations in the barbershop, and also the Rabbit of Seville, the one where Bugs Bunny is like, when he's cutting. Oh, and Bugs Bunny becomes Big Chungus because of internet. Thanks, internet. Bugs finally tells LeBron what happened to the Looney Tunes. Algie Rhythm came down and was like, you guys, there's more out there than Looney Tunes world. You can be in a bunch of different cooler things. And so all the Looney Tunes left, but Bugs stayed behind because Looney Tunes world is his home. It's where he gets to be himself. So when LeBron is like, I need to put together a team to go up against Algie for this basketball game, Bugs sees that as an opportunity to get his friends back. Because LeBron was all like, I want like Superman and Iron Giant and Trinity and King Kong on my team. And Bugs is like, nah, we getting them Looney Tunes, yo. That's how this works. It's Space Jam. I also love that Bugs at one point when he was like, you want me, a talking cartoon rabbit, to work with you, a professional basketball player, in a high stakes basketball game? This sounds familiar. I'm like, cool. The other Space Jam happened. This is not replacing the other Space Jam. This is a continuation. So if you were concerned about that, it is not a reboot. It is a continuation. It's a new story. It's a sequel, technically. So LeBron's not replacing Jordan, for people who care about that sort of thing. There are people who are treating this like real athlete things. Like, they're like, how many points did LeBron get in this Space Jam game versus Jordan got in his Space Jam game? Like, really? We really doing this? So they trick Marvin the Martian to come down to Looney Tunes world to get his spaceship, and they travel to to go get the other ones. I guess this is where the space portion of Space Jam takes place. This is like cyberspace because all the different movies are planets. So, haha. And then this is where we start getting all kinds of references. We see them fly across Harry Potter world where LeBron says he's a Hufflepuff. And I say, bullshit. I'm a Hufflepuff. If I'm a Hufflepuff, I don't think LeBron's a Hufflepuff. But then again, we both played Bugs Bunny's Crazy Castle when we were kids. But then they go to DC World. And this part, look, I'm sorry. I know some people are all like, oh, this movie is a big commercial for Warner Brothers and HBO Max. I hear you. I understand you. I see it too. I see the corporate synergy. I see the marketing. But god dang it, that DC World. Because it is classic, like 90s Batman the Animated Series, Superman the Animated Series. They're going through Metropolis because Daffy Duck is there trying to be Superman. He's Super Duck, trying to like stage saving a train from running into an orphanage so that he can look like a hero. But then Bugs Bunny dressed as Batman and LeBron dressed as Robin are there. They drive through 90s animated Metropolis and 90s animated Gotham City and Atlantis and the Fortress of Solitude. And if you look at the background, you can see that Lois Lane and Harley Quinzel and Alfred from the animated series are on the train. It goes past one point, you see Clark Kent, you see Jimmy Olsen, and then Superman actually stops the train, and then the Justice League show up. You see like Batgirl and the Flash and Green Lantern and Aquaman. And the music too, they got like the Superman, they got the Batman music, they got the Adam West Batman music. I was like, can we stay here forever? This is my favorite DC movie. This section of Space Jam, A New Legacy. Then we get the montage of them getting other characters. So then we go into Mad Max Fury Road, where Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner are there. I mean, that kind of makes sense. It's a desert. So you get Wile E. Coyote dressed as one of the dudes that's all like, notice me, witness me, spraying the stuff on his face. Austin Powers shows up because Elmer Fudd is Mini-Me. And Sylvester is Mr. Bigglesworth, completely shaved and everything. Then they replace dude from Casablanca with Yosemite Sam because his name is Sam. And that's all in black and white. Like, I can understand if you are a person that loves movies, you must hate this. You are seeing some of your classics being infiltrated by Looney Tunes. I'm sorry, I liked it. Like, I could have had that as an entire movie. Like, I was almost forgetting about the whole basketball thing. I was like, look, if we had an entire movie where the Looney Tunes are just jumping through other movies, and maybe there's some commentary about no one likes the Looney Tunes anymore because they're old, they like all this new stuff, that's why they went to the new stuff. But then we learn over time that, look, as much as all this new stuff is great, you can't forget the classics. If there was some story that was just that, about the Looney Tunes, that could have been cool. I would have been fine with that movie. Sorry. That's just me. I saw Foghorn Leghorn flying on a Game of Thrones dragon talking about winter. I say winter is coming. That's gold, y'all. That is movie quality right there. That is probably the most I'll ever watch a Game of Thrones. Then while they're recruiting characters, Taz gets dropped off by Rick and Morty. They're like, we're done running tests with your badger thing. It's your problem now, dum-dums. I was like, what? Rick and Morty are in Space Jam? Oh, the cameos. Oh, man. Get mad at this movie all you want to, but shoot, people lost their minds when Rick and Morty popped up in the theater. They were like, what? Wubba-dubba-dub-dub. Okay, but I will say, we still doing Matrix jokes in 2021. I was like, all right, y'all, I get it. Warner Brothers owns the Matrix. They got a new Matrix movie coming out, but we literally doing the like Speedy Gonzalez going in bullet time and Granny doing the whole jump in the air in 360. Like, we did that. Shrek did that. Everybody did that. We bringing that back. I guess if old clothes come back in style, old references to the Matrix can come back in style too. I still dug it though. LeBron is like, look, dude, I can't have all these Looney Tunes on my team. I need somebody that plays basketball. And Bugs is like, I got you. Lola. Let's go get Lola. And so she's in Wonder Woman. I see what they did here because I was like, well, wait a minute. We already went to DC World, but no. Lola's in DC comic book world. That's different. That is because you watch DC movies on an HBO Max service and you read DC comics on a DC comic service. So both need to be advertised. Because yeah, when they go into Wonder Woman, it's that actual comic book. And I'm sorry, y'all. I understand the commercialism, but this animation was kind of sweet because they were actually doing like comic book panels, and you get Rosario Dawson, Wonder Woman, talking to Lola Bunny, who's all ready, and then you know they got that Wonder Woman music kicking in. So of course Bugs is all like, Lola, we need your help. I was like, good callback with that one. And Lola's like, nah, playing basketball with an athlete, been there, done that. When she finds out that it's all to save Dom, she's like, all right, I'm gonna do this. I'm back in the game. And Bugs is all happy to see all his Looney Tunes friends together, except for one. I feel like there's still someone missing. LeBron tries to trade the Looney Tunes because I guess they apparently forgot how to play basketball from the last time. But they have problems because LeBron wants to put in that work. He wants to put in them fundamentals. But the Looney Tunes are Looney Tunes. They do Looney stuff. They're dropping anvils and pianos on everyone. Granny is riding like a little scooter on a ramp while Wile E. Coyote is exploding buses that she jumps over. And then she slams the ball and goes, game, blouses. Yes, Granny makes a Chappelle Show reference. You know, they're Looney Tunes. That's what they do. They keep it loony. They like to have fun. And LeBron's like, no, man, fundamentals. Got to put in that work. Bugs Bunny does an MC Hammer dance and draws like lady dancing bunnies at some point. I just felt that was necessary to let you know that it exists in the movie. He does Can't Touch This. It's 2021. Remember that. Now it is time for the big game. Al G drops a giant basketball court in Looney Tunes world. Oh, it's the old washed up Looney Tunes. Look at all 2D. We got to fix that. So it's Al G that turns the Looney Tunes into 3D. I actually thought the Looney Tunes looked good in CG though. They actually didn't look too shabby. Al G is like, all right, we got to get an audience for this thing. And that's when it happens. That's when Andre's brain just splatters across the screen. Characters. Pop culture icon characters, WB property characters from across the decades coming at you at one time to go watch this game. We're talking the Iron Giant, Scooby-Doo, Harry Potter wizards, Game of Thrones dragons, King Kong, Smallfoot, Animaniacs, the Flintstones, the Jetsons, the Thundercats, the Great Gazoo, Muttley, Penelope Pitstop, Peter Potamus, Magilla Gorilla. But that's not all. You get Jabberjaw, Frankenstein Jr., the Herculoids, Space Ghost flying in the air. Beautiful, man. It's absolutely beautiful. Takes me back to the days of the USA Cartoon Express. It's Scooby's Laugh Olympics up in this piece. All right, there's a lot of Warner Brothers characters here. There's a lot of Hanna-Barbera characters here. But what did I say? From the moment I saw trailer 1, I was like, you cannot have a movie with a bunch of Warner Brothers characters and not have them gremlins. Them gremlins better show up in this movie. And Space Jam: A New Legacy was like, oh, you want gremlins? Not only are we going to show you the gremlins, we gonna put them in front of the camera, close up, yomping at the camera like, Stripe with this freaking chainsaw, and they got the gremlin with the 3D glasses, the one with a Christmas hat, and they were like right in front of the camera like, look at this CG, look at this gremlin CG. They took a close up. They took over the movie for like 5 seconds like, look at us, look at this CG gremlins, because you probably gonna get this in a movie one day, so get used to it. I won't puppet gremlins, but God dang, them gremlins look kind of good though. That was a test. There's no question about it. Why were they that close up? Like Fred Flintstone, Yogi Bear is in the background. And the gremlins are like, hello! For a brief second, the movie was called Gremlins: A New Legacy. It's ridiculous, man. King Kong and the Iron Giant fist bump. Why? Why does this exist? And why do they do a better job with these characters than Ready Player One? The Nerdlux pre-Monstars are in this movie. Oh my gosh. Welcome to the Space Jam. Run, baby, run. Then you got all these people dressed up as various characters. You got the Mask, Batman Returns Penguin, the Goons from like the 60s Batman. You got the freaking Clockwork Orange dudes. Why? You got White Walkers, the flying monkeys from the Wizard of Oz. The Nun, I think, is in there from like the Conjuring movies. You got Pennywise. I know that it is a very long book, but I bet you if you look real close in that book, there's a chapter about Space Jam in there. It's crazy too, because there's a couple of times where you see Pennywise right behind Dom, and I'm like, Dom, run! Go bite your arm off, Dom, then you can't play basketball. My absolute personal favorite, if you watch this movie or if you watch it again, and I know some of you won't, but the guy that's dressed up as Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Freeze, this dude is living his best life. He is loving being in this movie because he's right behind Don Cheadle the whole time. It's him and Batman Returns Penguin and the Mask. The Mask is also having a good time. But seriously, Arnold Schwarzenegger looking like Mr. Freeze in this movie. Watch him. There's one point where a shot is made and he's just like, yeah, oh, and I'm like, I love this dude. Oh, and also the Looney Tunes. And then we get the Goon Squad, which is a bunch of basketball players, and they have like special powers. Like Anthony Davis is like a a giant bird with a huge unibrow, and there's like a snake woman and like a spider woman and like a wet fire, and of course Dom, who's all powered up. I love that they're all like Dom, and he comes floating down while the freaking gospel music plays. We win, yes sir. But that's not enough for Algae Rhythm. He uses Dom's technology to zap a bunch of people in the real world into the server as well. And they was like, if we win the game, y'all all stuck here forever. And I'm also going to delete the Looney Tunes. You keeping up with all that? This is all part of the story, y'all. The Goon Squad just completely destroys the Looney Tunes in the first half. I'm talking about like crazy destroy, because there's all these power-ups in the game because it's based on Dom's video game. There's different ways you can get style points. You can actually get extra points for doing different types of stuff. So by the end of the first half, the Goon Squad got like 1,000 points. And the Looney Tunes even telling LeBron, like, dude, this is not a regular basketball game. We need to do something different. Think outside the box, get loony. And of course, LeBron's like, no, man, fundamentals. You got to put in that work. Got to put in that work in them fundamentals and the work in them fundamentals and work. During the game, they also bring out Kronos. Damian Lillard, I think, is the player. Look, I know the cartoon stuff, right? He's like this robot that can change time. So they really do this cool thing where a Roadrunner tries to run and get the ball, and then he slows down time, and it's a slow motion thing where Roadrunner's all like, meep, meep. And Kronos like wraps him up, puts him right in front of the Coyote. And the Coyote's like, oh, finally. You know, then he dresses up LeBron as a pirate and slams the ball in. And then the DeLorean goes by on the scoreboard. They are losing. They go to halftime. And LeBron's like, y'all terrible. And the Looney Tunes are like, nah, you terrible as a coach. And then freaking Sylvester rolls in and is like, don't worry, everyone. I got everything covered. I found Michael Jordan. And they start playing the music. And then Daffy Duck's like, from North Carolina, here he is, Michael Jordan. But it's not Michael Jordan. It's Michael B. Jordan. And I cracked up because there was a part of me early on that was like, I bet you money they will do a joke where they're going to think they got Michael Jordan, but instead it's Michael B. Jordan. I'm like, that's a pretty funny gag. I can totally see this movie doing that. But to do that, you would have to get Michael B. Jordan. They're not going to get Michael B. Jordan. They totally got Michael B. Jordan. He walks in and is all like, yeah, man, I was trapped in here in the serververse and I was getting some popcorn and this cat grabbed me. And everyone's like, Sylvester, that ain't the same dude. Sylvester pulled all them looking like, because even Elmer Fudd was like, that doesn't even look like Michael Jordan, huh? And Sylvester's like, I thought he aged gracefully. And I'm like, dang, Sylvester, dang. So then LeBron's like, what are you guys doing? Why can't you win this game? And Lola's like, we trying to be you. And then that's when LeBron has his revelation. I tried to make the Looney Tunes like me, just like I tried to make my son like me. I gotta let you do you. So he's like, Bugs, take over. And he's like, yeah, now we're gonna play this game, Doc. So that's when they come back completely loony, making the little intro, and they're all dancing and stuff. We ready, you know. And LeBron makes his little funny faces, that's when we get a rap. Yes, y'all, the Looney Tunes put on their hip hop gear and Porky Pig raps. I know some people are like, oh, this is cringe because Porky Pig is rapping and the Looney Tunes are doing hip hop. But let's be true. You grew up in the 90s. You remember them Looney Tunes shirts. You know what I'm talking about? Them Looney Tunes hip hop shirts where they had on the crisscross backwards pants and the backwards hats. And you had like Bugs Bunny and Taz sitting like this. So I'm sorry. It's kind of a reference. Then we get the crazy Looney Tunes stuff. You know, we get them doing all the crazy stuff. So the Looney Tunes are now catching up, even getting to the point where they're about to win the game. Al G is so mad he turns full Bobby Knight, sweater and all, throwing chairs and everything. They bring Kronos back out because he's like the star player, but Granny's like, I got this. And she like stops him, flips over him, turns his dial to make him like super old, and then gets a shot. And she gets extra points as a senior discount score. And they're all like, oh, she is the one. That was a reference to the Matrix reference. They literally are saying Granny is Trinity or Neo or something. They just want to remind you that a new Matrix movie is coming out. But LeBron does the ultimate power play. He goes up to his son. He stops dribbling the ball and he's like, son, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was so hard on you. When I was young, I knew that playing basketball was my only chance to make things better for myself and my family and my life. But now that you live a different life than I did, you should be allowed to do what you think is special for you. And I should have been more supportive of that. and let's have a father-son moment. So now he joins the Toon Squad, and Algae's like, all right, I got you. Just for that, I'm going full Scorpion King on you, turning myself into a CGI beast. He like gets super large and he's all CG now. And I'm like, okay, now this part of the movie is ridiculous. I was able to accept a lot of things with Space Jam: A New Legacy, but a CG Don Cheadle playing basketball, why? What is the reason? And then Don remembers there's this one shot that's similar to what LeBron does, but if you do it, you kind of glitch out. And the last time he did that with his character when working on the game, it deleted the character. So he's like, we could do it, but whoever does it is going to probably get deleted. LeBron's like, well, I'll do it because I'm an actual person. I can't be deleted like that. And they're like, well, you don't know that. And then right before LeBron's about to do the move, Bugs Bunny takes the ball and he does the move and he shoots it, but then he starts glitching out and you're like, oh no, they win the game. The Looney Tunes even turn back into 2D. All the people that got sucked into the game go back out, including LeBron's family. But Bugs is lying down on the ground talking about, oh, LeBron, Lola, I don't feel so good. Lola's like holding him. She's all like, Bugs, are you okay, Bugs? And he's all like, did we win? And then he just goes, that's all, folks. And Bugs flies into the air. And you see like a little star with a bunny outline. And Bugs is dead, I guess. So LeBron tricks his son thinking he's taking him to basketball camp when he actually goes to E3 camp instead. He's like, there you go, son. You don't need to be a basketball player. You can become a video game programmer where you'll probably work a lot of hours for not the right amount of pay and probably do some crunch time and then get laid off if your game doesn't sell. Dream big! So, of course, his son is all happy and LeBron's all happy and Bugs is all happy. Oh, by the way, Bugs Bunny is there and LeBron's like, whoa, Bugs Bunny, you here? And he's like, dude, I'm a Toon. You can't kill me. Now, I will say, this seemed like this would have been a real appropriate time to maybe bring Dom in and be like, what if Dom was able to fix his program to bring Bugs back? I think that would have been like a nice heartfelt moment because that again would have been like, oh man, my son really is good at this stuff. He was able to save Bugs Bunny. Now I'll let him go to E3 camp. But I guess we didn't have enough time for that because they had to mention Harry Potter 3 more times. So Bugs just returns and is all like, I'm here in Hollywood now. I'm gonna hang out with you, LeBron. We family. He literally says that. I mean, we have a Dom in the movie. Another Dom can be like, family. I like it. We don't get an after credit scene, but we do get like a bunch of photos of the Looney Tunes hanging out in Hollywood. Couldn't help but notice, but all the photos, they're doing like different sports. Like they're biking and skating and doing yoga. And then like Granny's fighting in the UFC and Lola Bunny's playing tennis. And Bugs Bunny is doing golf with Bill Murray. Nice. So there's a part of me that's like, are y'all trying to maybe like put a little dab in there that if we do Space Jam again, maybe we're going to change the sport? Like maybe not do basketball the next time. Maybe we'll try some other sports. I'm down with that. That's Space Jam: A New Legacy. It's ridiculous. It's silly. It's a big commercial. A lot of critics do not like it. Some people don't like it because LeBron's in it. Some people don't like it because Lola Bunny's bunny boobs aren't big enough. Like there's a lot of reasons. But I'm sorry. Y'all know about me. I was like, give it to me. Give me all this jam. Putting on some bread. Biscuits and jam. Yeah, dude, I know this movie makes no sense. I know this movie is ridiculous, but there is just something about it where I'm just like, but I still like you. It's McDonald's. That is what Space Jam: A New Legacy is. McDonald's. I know it ain't the best food out there, but I knew what I was getting into. I was not expecting anything major from a sequel to a movie that was made over 20 years ago, which in itself only exists because of an actual commercial from Nike. The whole reason why Space Jam even exists is because of a Nike commercial with Michael Jordan and Bugs Bunny in it. I get it. Yeah, it's a little that they keep trying to put all these properties in front of us to be like, look at what we own. But aren't we also the same people that are crying about what characters we want in Smash Brothers, or that literally made a Nickelodeon fighting game trending recently? Oh, boo-hoo, all these Warner Brother properties all up in here. I bet you money if Iron Man flew across the screen, you'd be all like, whoa, my God. They all selling to us, y'all. They all selling to us. I get it. If you don't like this movie for a variety of reasons, I completely understand. I hear you. I understand you. And most of your reasons are valid. I'm sorry. I had a good time. I had a good time, though. I just love them tunes, man. I don't know what it is. Them Looney Tunes get me. I grew up with them. I love them. 2D, 3D, CG, I don't care. And the people in my theater, they liked it, man. They were applauding. They applauded this movie at the end. That's my people right there. I watched it in theaters. I watched it again on HBO Max. I had a good time with this movie. You don't have to agree with me, but don't hate on me for liking something. I know it's not a great movie. It could have been better. It could have been shorter. I mean, almost 2 hours for Space Jam: A New Legacy. I mean, really? And honestly, I feel like it's 2 movies in one. I feel like the Looney Tunes playing around in other movies and another Space Jam are almost 2 separate ideas. I think there is a story there in the Looney Tunes trying to make themselves more hip and current when learning that what's best about them is just to be who they are. And I feel like there's a little bit of that in this movie, but I feel like if you would have cleaned this movie up a little bit, you could have emphasized that a little bit more and had more Looney Tunes-esque stuff in this. But for what it is, man, whatever, man. It's Space Jam. And now I want this Gremlins movie that they obviously advertised in this thing. You better have a Gremlins movie coming. I better see a Gremlins trailer tomorrow. Thank you for watching this video. Did you watch Space Jam: A New Legacy? Did you like it or not? Thank you very much for listening to all this nonsense. I love you like a play cousin. I'm out 5,000. Bye.